What's up, everybody? This is D-Job, Danimal Daniel Jobber here, with another episode number 7 of Jobbing Out with Danimal Daniel Jobber, 205 Live, and the WWE Cruiserweight Report. And for a special treat, my new intro.
Time to do the job. Time to do the job! Behold the jobber of jobbers, Daniel Jobber.
Hope you had another great week, and we're here for episode number 7 of this report. Interesting week in the WWE. Biggest news, I guess, was on SmackDown Live, where Calgary's own Jinder Mahal, nephew of the great Gamma Singh, became the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. And he'll be facing Randy Orton in the near future, I guess at the next SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. So that's going to be huge. We all wish our fellow Albertan Jinder Mahal well. And also, of course, in that process, he was joined by the Bollywood boys, who they're starting to refer to as the Singh boys, apparently, or Singh brothers. So you have Jinder Mahal, and you have the Singh boys, and of course there's word that they're doing this to try to help promote their WWE in India. And so we could have perhaps, a speculation about an all-Indian faction, maybe revamp the Singh name and in the honor of guys like the great Gamma Singh from the old Calgary Stampede or Stampede Wrestling territory. And who knows, maybe we'll have a revival of that. Maybe they can even get Great Gamma himself in to do an appearance. I mean, he does do appearances in wrestling every now and again. I saw him live in Alberta, in Edmonton, not too long ago, so who knows? We'll have to see where that goes and how Jinder Mahal's push finally goes. I've been an advocate to see Jinder Mahal get used better since they brought him back. I was kind of critical of the fact that they used him basically as enhancement talent when he first come back, despite the fact that I felt he had some real entertainment and talent to offer. And seeing him live, he really looked like he was someone that they could have actually used far better than they were using him in the Raw brand. So, wish him well. Very proud of you, Tiger, Jinder Mahal. We look forward to seeing your match at the next SmackDown pay-per-view. And of course, in the Cruiserweight division, the big news is that 205 Live is apparently struggling, not getting the viewership that the WWE wants to see from them. And there's talk that perhaps the taping of the show, or the live showing of the show after SmackDown Live, is maybe hurting it, and they might go to a recording and play it after, kind of scenario like they used to do with Main Event and those kind of shows. This makes sense. There is I don't know. It's tough for people to sit through a whole live show like SmackDown Live, which is so relevant, and then still have the energy afterwards to give their all to cheering for another show, 205 Live, which really it's a Raw brand to begin with, and it's just not as relevant. So I mean, I can understand people having a little more difficulty, getting enthusiastic about the show. So who knows? We'll see what comes of that. I think it might be a good idea to tape the show at the beginning of SmackDown Live and show it afterwards, and at least then you get the crowd. Always advertise the show starting an hour earlier or hour and a half earlier, get people used to coming in and that they're going to see great wrestling and great entertainment and some great storylines, and maybe people will get used to coming that extra hour and a half or so early for SmackDown and appreciating 205 Live and being far more energetic in it. I mean, pre-shows of big events don't always go so well, but I mean, the pre-show matches tend to be a little bit on the soft side, whereas 205 Live is actually, I mean, it's been impressing me a lot. I certainly dig 205 Live, which is why I do these reports. So I think I'd like to see that. Maybe 205 Live going to taping it before the show and then playing it right afterwards. I guess I can't call it 205 Live then maybe, but I'm sure they'll come up with a way to keep the the concept and the brand alive. But anyways, let's get to the actual action this week for the WWE Cruiserweight division. It all started off on main event, technically from last week. We had one match for the Cruiserweights, Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado versus Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. A typical match that, getting a chance to showcase Metalik and Dorado, who typically tag together. And, of course, Tony Nese and Drew Gulak often tag together as well on the heel side. I only got to watch highlights of the match again, because as hockey coverage seems to have messed with my recordings, as it's done the last couple of weeks. But it seemed like a fun and high-flying match. The highlights, showcased a pretty decent match. Lots of springboard attack, showcasing Metalik and Dorado's amazing talent. In the end, though, surprisingly, it ended up being Tony Nese who made the difference in the match, causing Dorado to fall groin first on the top turnbuckle and fall down into the corner, setting up Tony Nese for his running Nese and the victory. If you like watching high-flying cruiserweight performances, this match is probably worth going back and watching. Anyways, it's a big victory for the heels, Drew Gulak and Tony Nese, and a good way to get the Cruiserweight week off on a good foot. That's all I'll say about that. Main event usually has a pretty good match, but the storyline for it is really not a factor. So, anyways, then on Monday Night Raw, we had T.J. Perkins, after his new heel turn and on his new push and rise in the rankings against Gentleman Jack Gallagher. And Neville comes out to view the match right off the bat, and likewise, then Austin Aries announces he's going to come out and watch the match as well if it's a viewing, and he plunks himself down right next to Neville to watch the match. And Austin Aries starts eating his banana. He sure loves his bananas. For whatever reason, he's always got a banana when he's on camera lately. Anyways, Jack Gallagher starts off doing some of his gentlemanly technical twisting moves to put TJP into creative pin predicament. Can't explain any better than that. You'll have to watch it to see what I mean. But Jack Gallagher's got a pretty good knack for making it look convincing that he does these cool moves to get people into twisting predicaments and stuff. Jack Gallagher is so entertaining in the ring. It's just so fun, much fun to watch him. Actually, I heard a rumor recently that he's going to be facing Tyler Bate, the UK champion, and that should be an interesting match. I know that's going to generate some excitement there. Anyways, that's an aside note. These two are such colorful cruiserweight wrestlers anyways, and both such show-offs. It's just fun to watch them try to outdo each other, even when it's short-lived. Jack Gallagher gets thrown into the corner and does his headstand, and Perkins runs into the double feet, as typical happens, and of course TJ Perkins gets thrown towards the ropes and grabs on to between the second or top and then second top rope, and poses for a second, and the guy will always run at it, and he'll jot out of the way, and of course Jack Gallagher flies over the top rope. Just fun antics, these guys trying to show off their talents. But anyways, it's a short-lived match for the most part. And a few minutes in, Jack hits his headbutt on TJ Perkins, and TJP falls out of the ring stunned. Gallagher takes the opportunity to grab his umbrella and hit TJP with the Mary Poppins leap from the top rope, and of course that's always entertaining. Anyways, TJP goes into the ring, but then he goes back out of the ring and he starts to go around the outside. And Jack Gallagher comes out after him, and he's near Austin Aries, and then TJ Perkins throws Gallagher hard into Aries and knocks him to the ground, and of course Aries takes exception to this and hops up onto the apron to challenge TJ Perkins, but Neville takes the opportunity to come from the side and literally sweep Austin Aries off his feet, hard onto the apron and onto the floor. Neville has, of course, a few taunting words to Aries as he reels in pain, and then during the distraction, Perkins goes and grabs Gallagher, pulls him into the ring, puts him up on his shoulders, and hits the detonation kick for another big victory over a top contender, and a second victory over Gentleman Jack Gallagher particularly. And it was a short match, but did a great job of showcasing the benefits of TJ Perkins' heel turn and his alignment with Neville, and also building more tension between Neville and Austin Aries going into their big title match at Payback. So, had a good purpose, good story for the most part, good way to showcase a quick match on Raw. What can you say? Raw has only given him one match, the Cruiserweights, lately, so at least the match they have, does the job of promoting the biggest event at the next pay-per-view. So, anyways, that was it for the pre-stuff, and now we get to 205 Live. Right off the bat, Corey Graves suggests that TJ Perkins knows more than he's letting on, and maybe using Neville as much as Neville's using him. Kind of an interesting thought. Who knows what's going to come of that? It's a pretty interesting pairing and union between Neville and TJ Perkins. Anyways, we start off with the first match, Akira Tozawa versus Tony Nese. And of course, as you know, Akira Tozawa is really coming on lately with his lessons he's teaching onto the Brian Kendrick. Of course, lesson number 2 was the last one, and of course they recap that, lesson number 2. I won't go into that. If you want to see that, go back to my last episode. I'll tell you all about it. Episode 6. Anyways, Tozawa tries to get the fans going when he gets into the ring with his battle cry, ha, 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 but they're a little lukewarm to start. Tony Nese comes out with his usual muscle show-off poses, and of course Charles Robinson is the referee. And this is important later on. Anyways, the crowd warms up quickly, though, and starts joining Tozawa on his battle cries early in the match. The ha, 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 and they go ha, ha in the background. So really that battle cry, it's amazing how it's one of the most over things going on in the Cruiserweight division. But anyways, it's a fairly even match. About halfway through, out comes the Brian Kendrick to antagonize Tozawa and help Tony Nese win the match. Tony Nese then really shows off his power by balancing Tozawa on his shoulder, like in a suplex kind of position with his head and shoulders out in kind of an angle like this, and just really impressive. And then he drops him hard midsection onto the top rope, making him bounce off the rope back into the ring, and he's reeling in pain. Tozawa then, kind of comes back, counters a couple of moves, and knocks Tony Nese off the apron near Kendrick, and then gets the crowd up by doing his big suicide dive, energized by some more ha, ha, ha battle cries with the fans joining in. He is, and of course, after he does the suicide dive, he has a quick stare down at Kendrick, emotions that, hey, I want nothing to do with you, I'm just watching the match. Yeah, right. Anyways, the match ends quickly after that, when Nese sends Tozawa into the ropes by Kendrick, and then Kendrick tries to take advantage of the ref looking the other way, hops up onto the turnbuckle, tries to do a kick on Tozawa in the face, but then Charles Robinson turns around and catches it and stops him, asking, what are you doing? Get down! And during all the confusion, Tozawa rolls up Tony Nese in a sudden pin. 1, 2, 3, huge victory for Akira Tozawa. The guy's been on such a big roll ever since he got his 10th lesson from Kendrick. And it was after crossing Tony Nese the match, Kendrick jumps into the ring and tries to make amends. And of course he ends up turning his back on Nese and confronting Tozawa. And Nese takes the opportunity to clothesline him from behind and leaves the ring in disgust. And of course he's got Kendrick on the ground. And with this heel move, was this a heel move or was it a sign of potential face turn from Tony Nese? Hard to say, but my guess is just another heel move against another heel. I can't see them turning Tony Nese babyface, although he's one of the more interesting characters in the ring. You never know. They could try to turn somebody babyface to make up for T.J. Perkins, who's now a heel. I don't see it, though. But you never know. Who knows what could happen there. But anyways, either way, Tozawa cleverly grabs the mic outside the ring and takes advantage of the opportunity to laugh and tell Kendrick, this is lesson number 3. You need to have eyes in the back of your head. And leads the crowd on a few more ha, ha, ha for showing off a little and a little more taunting and exiting the ring. So anyway, the saga of Akira Tozawa paying the Brian Kendrick back for the 10 lessons he gave him continues in another victory for Akira Tozawa. A great way to open the 205 live show. Very entertaining start to the show. I'm hoping it might go all the way through, but it kind of, as you'll see, I felt it kind of tealed off at the end. But anyways, then we have Rich Swann coming to the ring again, as he typically tends to have that second segment all the time lately. He attempts to call out Alicia Fox and see if she's thought things through about him. He had a week to think about the fact that he's admitted to giving all those gifts to her, and being the one to give the gifts. But he's interrupted by Noam Dar, first of all, who comes out to confront him. It doesn't last long, though, as Alicia Fox does come in right away to join the two men in the ring. And I'm not going to act out the scene. But essentially, Alicia Fox rips at Noam Dar, just tears him down. She says she was only using him, and then she says she really doesn't give 2 fucks about him. Yep, dumps him right in the middle of the ring. Figuratively, not literally, women are allowed to wrestle men and everything, WWE and stuff. And anyways, yes, she dumps him and sends him back in the locker room all sad, and then turns towards Rich Swann and thanks him for all the lovely gifts. And Rich Swann says, they're from the heart, and starts to list off all these wonderful gifts he's given her. And then Alicia Fox goes, and now I'm ready to give you what you deserve. And he bends over to give him a kiss, and Swann stops her. And she's a little disappointed, but he asks her if she remembers Cedric Alexander, who even though he's recovering from injury, is one of his best friends. And he reminds her that she broke his heart, and that the real gift to her was showing the audience what a type of person she really is. Great way to have the story come to a real climax and head. And he also says that because of how his mother raised him, he wouldn't use the word to refer to the type of person she was. Really? Gold digger? She's a freaking gold digger. Call her a gold digger. Come on, man. Gold digger! Anyways, he leaves the ring, leaving Alicia Fox to talk to the audience about the benefits of being single. And, of course, while she's talking about being single, the crowd's going, what? What? And then Alicia Fox totally snaps back at them and starts putting on a tantrum heel performance. Just fun to watch. Alicia Fox did a really good job of playing off the situation. And I'm not sure what her future is with the show, though, now that the storyline is essentially over for her, unless they find some other way to get her to get with another guy or something on the show. We'll see, I guess. Stay tuned. Maybe there'll be more of the Alicia Fox storyline, or maybe that's it. Maybe she's done with 205 Live. Anyways, the second match, because that wasn't really a match, is Mustafa Ali versus Arya Daivari. And, well, the crowd's fairly quiet for the entrances again. But they do a flash to a scene of Arya Daivari arriving at the show in this beautiful hot yellow sports car. And he goes to the valet guy, "You want a tip? Don't scratch my car." I guess it's the way to build a bit more character into Daivari as an arrogant rich jerk and perhaps generate some heat for him. I don't know. Well, anyways, the match is a fairly straightforward match. Ali does a pretty good, cool flip, grabbing the top rope and flipping high out of the ring on top of Daivari at one point. Otherwise, fairly decent back and forth, nothing too remarkable. Ali does manage to drop Daivari in the corner and goes up to the top to do his inverted 450 splash, but then Drew Gulak comes out with a sign saying, "No fly zone." He's got a megaphone in his hand, and he's distracting him by saying, "I'm not lying, no high flying, I'm not lying, no high flying." And while Ali's distracted, Daivari knocks Mustafa Ali off the corner back into the ring, hits him with his vicious hammerlock clothesline, and pins him for the victory. Actually, I want to note that they make that hammerlock clothesline look pretty brutal, because they have Ali do almost a complete backflip, landing on his belly just before Daivari's arm actually hits him in the neck. And it's pretty well synchronized. Of course, if you watch closely, you can see it, but yeah, it just looks like he's totally taking him for almost a 270-degree flip. Pretty impressive, anyways. And it was after Daivari's Gulak-aided upset victory over high-ranked Mustafa Ali. Gulak says in an interview that there's still no place in 205 Live for Ali's reckless style, and he represents the WWE Universe by striving to create a better 205 Live. I'm not sure why he continues to only harass poor Mustafa Ali, though. I mean, why not pick on Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado? I mean, they do way more high-flying stuff than Mustafa Ali does, and they really need a storyline. I don't know. I think he could probably move on and place some of his antagonism to a few more guys in the division. But anyways, this Drew Gulak non-cruiserweight style cruiserweight wrestling crusade continues. So stay tuned. We'll see what comes of that. It's still skeptical, but it could easily create a little bit of a divide between the high flying acrobatic cruiserweights and the more brutal ground game kind of cruiserweights like Arya Daivari, like Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, finally we have T.J. Perkins versus Austin Aries. A huge match for TJP against the number one contender for the Cruiserweight title. And for some reason they continue to make no changes to TJP's entrance. Not sure why. I mean, it really doesn't fit his heel image at all very well, but they keep doing it. We'll see what happens if they can find some way to bring out the heel and the character entrance a little bit more. But still the Nintendo character entrance. It's what it is. Anyways, the crowd doesn't really seem to pop much for Austin Aries' entrance either. So quiet for the top babyface in the division. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe he needs more glorious entrances like Bobby Roode in NXT. I don't know. Glorious maybe might make the difference. I don't know why they don't put more into the entrances of the cruiserweights. I mean, they put so much into the ones on NXT. You know, why not give a little more to the entrances of Austin Aries? I mean, they really shouldn't be that quiet for the top babyface of the division. Anyways, either way, the crowd was chanting Austin Aries a little bit as the match started, so they kind of got in and got behind Austin Aries, and for the most part, there was some volume behind Austin Aries throughout the match, and against T.J. Perkins. And there was nothing remarkable early in this match. Both men show off typical cruiserweight agility and power, trying to get the upper hand on each other. TJP makes the mistake of walking outside the ring, not paying attention, and he walks right into Austin Aries' heat-seeking missile. His suicide dive, head-first suicide dive he does, or I guess I should call it that. Anyways, as the match goes on, Aries hits his pendulum elbow at one point, and a moment later he jumps off the top turnbuckle over top of TJP because he realizes he's going to miss and the TJP's on his feet. Appears to land funny and hurts his leg, and so for the rest of the match, Austin Aries is trying to sell a bad leg, but in my opinion doesn't do it very well. but he tries. Anyways, TJ Perkins tries to take advantage of Aries' bad leg for a bit and works his leg over and then tries to hit his detonation kick, but he fails and Aries slips out. Then Aries comes back, and for some reason he's no trouble standing on the top turnbuckle with his bad leg and jumping off or whatever he does. But when he puts his last chancery on TJP to try to get a submission, for some reason his leg is bad enough to make it tough for him to get enough leverage. And of course, TJP gets easily to the rope. And he also tries for a late false finish, and Perkins puts his foot on the rope to break the count. The match ends with TJP missing another detonation kick. Tries again. Austin Aries slips out. And Austin Aries suddenly just comes out of nowhere, bouncing off the ropes and hitting his discus 5-arm for the victory. For me, this was an underwhelming main event. Not really surprising. Not a lot of exciting moments. Disappointing to see the top two guys in the Cruiserweight division. You know, just, I don't know, or two of the top guys. I guess technically Neville's the top guy. Just not having the chemistry and creating a match that just makes you want to watch more and more. It seemed like the match just needed to end, and it just ended suddenly. Anyways, after Aries is celebrating his victory, Neville comes out and attacks Austin Aries from behind, and they fight for a while, but Aries actually gets the better of him, puts him in the last chancery. But then TJ Perkins comes back to life and goes in and breaks up the move, and then Neville and TJ Perkins attack Austin Aries together, and then Neville pushes away. Perkins says, "I got this," and he starts to attack him by himself. Anyways, finally more refs come out of the ring to stop the beating, and then after that, Neville puts Aries into his Rings of Saturn. Yet the refs were out there ahead of time. Anyways, puts the Rings of Saturn. After that, the two just finish beating him up, and the show ends with Neville and TJ Perkins standing over Austin Aries in victory. Of course, not really a victory because Austin Aries won the match, but Austin Aries reeling in pain, and the announcer's trying to sell the idea that Austin Aries may be too hurt to make it to the title match against Neville at Payback in 2 weeks. Of course, we know that's probably still going to happen. Not going to be the case. But anyways, it wasn't a bad way to add fuel to the Neville versus Aries Payback match, but it really didn't do much to keep the heel momentum of TJ Perkins going. Felt it kind of stopped it with a whoosh in TJ Perkins' momentum. It's kind of disappointing. I was really enjoying seeing TJ Perkins getting this push. Oh, I guess we'll see if they can find a new way to keep TJ Perkins' story going and relevant next week, leading into the pay-per-view. Maybe they'll have TJ Perkins face somebody at the pay-per-view. It's hard to say. But, I mean, still his status increases. So what can you say there? TJ Perkins' heel run caught people's eyes, created interest in him for the first time in a while, really made him relevant. So, and of course, if you follow my power rankings, which you should do because they're awesome, he's going to move probably further up again this week because of his great record and his great success he's had. So, even in, of course, the losing effort to the number one contender, I mean, there's no shame in losing a match to the number one contender, especially when he just beat him. So now, it was just Austin Aries getting his win back. Typical WWE win sharing or win trading. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up with that. That was all the exciting Cruiserweight action this week. Only 5 matches because Raw only has the one. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you follow me on Twitter at Daniel Jobber, capital D, capital J. Of course, follow me on Instagram at Danimal Daniel Jobber, all lowercase letters. And, of course, on YouTube, my main channel that this video is on and all my wrestling content is Daniel Jobber. And finally, I hope you'll visit my website, DanimalDanielJobber.ca, my pride and joy where I have all my fun content, my Cruiserweight power rankings, which I hope you check out and enjoy because, like I said, they're awesome and worth the time to check out every week. I've been told they're generally spot on, and of course I put a lot of attention and work into watching the Cruiserweights and really trying to figure out who the best are. So if you haven't checked them out yet, please do this week. I encourage you to do that. It's DanimalDanielJobber.ca. You can also watch this video here, some of my previous ones, all my fun content. I even have music that I create up on my music page on DanimalDanielJobber.ca. So go to DanimalDanielJobber.ca. Because that's my website, and I'm darn proud of it. It's true. It's damn true. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you'll check me out again next week with another episode of Jobbing Out with Danimal Daniel Jobber, 205 Live and WWE Cruiserweight Report. This is Danimal Daniel Jobber, self-proclaimed Duke of the Cruiserweights, bidding you a great week. Jobber out!